Hi, I'm Real Genetic Demon, and this is the Pandora 5S. It's an all-in-one 900 game arcade joysticks. So it's 1 and 2 player, so it's not just a single player, as you can see. Sounds nice. We've got all the buttons that you'd expect on this kind of joystick. We've got acrylic front, metal case, which is got a couple of screws holes on it, and on the back, if I just swing this around, we have various inputs. Now there's actually hinged if you look there as well. So we've got the on-off button, we have power, HDMI, VGA, audio, then you have audio or volume for the internal speaker, because there's an internal speaker if you really want that. And then you've got the settings button, which allows you to option the options menus. And then you've got a USB input, which is the most interesting one of the lot. That allows you to put a USB cable into your PC and enable it as a joystick of its own making. So, what do you get in the box? Okay, so we have the Pandora 5S box. I love the comments here. You know, top brand quality chipsets, green low powered gaming, hundreds of classic games, super high resolution, and fluent game control experience. And they're all kind of words that have appeared out of sort of I don't know. The kind of words I think that the makers in China actually think that Westerners will like. I mean, we even start with professional design, reliable quality. To be fair, quality's spot on. I really quite like it. So let's flip open this box and let's have a little look at the contents, and I'll show you what's in here. So what it came with. I think it's quite funny as well. We've got resolution here. It's you know, it only work at 800 by 600 resolution, which is quite funny, really. So yeah, it's high definition, but only at that level. So it'll work with old monitors, though. Right, let's have a little look. So in the UK, you've got your power lead, standard sort of style kettle lead. You got power supply. I think it's 12 volt. If you're looking at it, it came with a very long HDMI lead, huge one. Things I haven't opened because I don't need them or don't use them is the VGA cable, which is really quite nice that you've got you're getting all the parts. Then you've got a USB cable. They just seem to be dropped in. I don't think it really matters where they get them from. They're kind of manufacturing them en masse. It doesn't make a huge difference to the game. A couple of extra switches, which is quite handy. It's quite nice. So in fact, this case, because I've got 2 different colours on the thing, well, just black and white, I'm afraid. We've actually got 2 sets of those, and then we've got the Pandora game manual in English. Now, I was flicking through this the other day when thinking about this video, and it amused me because I got to in the preference here, I got to this one. Hundreds of classic arcade games. It's not particularly well translated. However, it's not a bad little manual. Tells you about where the ports are, what comes in your packaging, how you connect it up for HDMI, VGA, the power, volume controls, joysticks themselves, the menus and the layouts for them, which is quite nice. And then if we get so far through, we actually get a pinout for the internal connectors. So you can actually, if you wish to change the joystick or plug it into a PC or PlayStation 3, you can. And then we're into the huge long list of games that are installed on it. So there we go. And then we've got the joysticks itself, or the device itself. And actually, I have to admit, I was very surprised how well packed this was. I mean, we're quite literally, you know, we're all sealed in quite nicely. So, very good. Very nice indeed. And what I think we'll do now is we'll have a little look at the inside, because it's designed to be opened. So we'll open it and we will find out what is inside the Pandora 5S. Right, so we're going to open this. If you look, there's a couple of screws and there's literally a hole all the way along. And a standard positive head screwdriver will actually open it. So let's just open it. And we have our joystick configurations on this side and on this side. We have, I'm going to do all the components first just to save time. We've got the internal speaker, we have the fan, and then we have down here an LED strip which lights the whole thing up, and then we have the board. Now you're going to ask me about the SD card down here. I haven't removed it, and I'll be brutally honest. I had a little look online about these things. They can be imaged. They're probably a standard Linux image. A number of people suggested that they weren't compatible with Macs or Windows, which is fine, because they're more likely to be a Linux ext3 or 4 image. So that's the likelihood that they are. So this is the compatible edge that we were looking at in the manual. So that's how it's designed, how it's set up. And then we've got some various sort of power and outputs for your switches on the top and back of the machine. So it's power in and out, and then power for these devices here. It's an ARM-based chip. I think it's a slightly faster one than the previous Pandora 4 S and the 4, which I think definitely helps with the speeding and timing of the games, because I haven't found any particular problems as such. Anyway, so that's the insides. I'll put this back together again and I'll put it onto a screen and fire it up so that you can see a quick run through of the menus, and I'll run a couple of games. Okay, so here we have the menus. I'm just flicking through them. I'm going to go through all 1,000 games just so you can see what they are. I'm not going slowly, I'm afraid. And just whizzing through. There's all kinds in here. You'll find Street Fighters, you'll find shoot 'em ups, you'll find puzzle games, you'll find platformers, you'll find well, pretty much a combination of most things. However, to be fair, it's quite focused on the 2D beaters and beat 'em ups and shooters, but that was the nature of arcades anyway. Anyway, so we're right at the end, and there's 999 Marshall Masters. Marshall Masters? Yeah. Okay, so the settings menu. Only thing I've got to mention about the settings menu is there's a quality optimization there. Now, when you turn that on, it smooths the pixelated images. Now, I personally prefer that off. It makes it a little bit more interesting. I think it looks more like the original arcade than otherwise. You can also change the free player, and you can also change the difficulty and lives on each of these games, like that one there, which is quite handy. I mean, obviously you can change it, make it a little bit easier to play, so you can have almost infinite lives if you wish, and then you save the settings and you're away. So the one thing I have found about my version of this here, my 5S, is that you can't actually save the games itself. Anyway, this leads me into a sample of the games that are on here. I think we've got King of the Fighters and a few others. I'm sure you can read the screen. If you're watching this, I'm sure you can read too. Yeah, so we've got a sample of some of the games. You're going to see some more on my channel. Obviously, I'm going to be doing my mini reviews of arcade games, new and old, ones that I've just discovered and ones that many of you might know, and hopefully it'll be all good fun. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it with about 4 or 5 of the games that feature on here. Have I found any problems? No, not found any particular problems. The only issue I really have is there are at least
two games, Forgotten Worlds and one called Edward something or other. Can't remember its name off the top of my head. Edward doesn't work very well at all. It has some crashes. And Forgotten Worlds is designed for a twin stick joystick thing, and it won't work with just a number of buttons, but that's the fact that this is just a pure arcade thing anyway at the end of the day. So it makes sense that this was designed originally for a jammer board, which was to go into an arcade machine. Otherwise, I have absolutely zero complaints. Turn up the internal volume just to make it like the arcade. Sound will sound sort of loud and obnoxious like it was when we were playing in the arcades of old. So yeah, definitely a great gaming console. Simple, yeah, you could do it all with the Raspberry Pi and Retro Pi, but you kind of have to then find all the ROMs and whatever else. This is kind of done for you. So yeah, really quite good fun. Anyway, I've been your host, Real Genetic Demon. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye bye now.
You win.